What's going on, Garage Gang? Matt from GarageMC here, guys. In today's video, what we're going to do is, just like you've seen in the thumbnail, we're going to rebuild this Trx250r 1986 to 1989 rear shock linkage. What we've got is Pivot Works rear linkage rebuild kit for the Trx250r, like I said, 86 to 89. Quite a few pieces involved here. No instructions come with this in the bearing kit, so here's a video. Let's get into it. All right, so getting ready to do the frame swap on the 330. Got a video coming on this, don't worry. You guys, I'm not just doing this behind your back. You know, you're going to get to see all this, you know, not a how-to, but, you know, me stripping that down and getting everything prepped and ready for swapping it onto my freshly powder-coated frame by Bonehead Performance Coatings in Pennsylvania. Not going to go into that too much, guys. You'll see a video on that. So, anyway, rear linkage. A lot of pieces that go into that. It's pretty important, you know. I'm going to have it apart. Well, actually, I already have my other one apart over there, so don't need to take this one apart. Don't need a swing arm. Don't need an axle. Got another one. So, you know, I'm going to leave whatever I'm not using together on this chassis for a future build. That's right. We're not going to just, you know, it's not for sale. So please don't get excited and send me 10,000 messages asking me how much, because it's not for sale. I have another rear shock up on the shelf up there. I got to go ahead and pull that apart too, you know, because it couldn't just be as easy as unbolting stuff off of that and bolting on this, right? Can't do that. That's just not who I am. Everything's got to look fresh, man. So, yeah, let's get into rebuilding this thing. Let me give you guys a quick overview. If you just clicked on this video and, you know, you're just trying to see how these pieces go together, I'll give you a quick, you know, overview of what order they go in. If you want to know in more detail, watch the whole video, you know. Clicking on and clicking off kind of hurts analytics. Kind of sucks, you know. Thumbs ups really help the most, actually, and watching the whole video. But here's your overview. All right, so here is your overview. The parts that you will need to rebuild your 86 to 89 Honda Trx250r rear linkage is, at least by Pivot Works, it's the PWLK-H23-020, and here's your quick overview. What comes in this bearing kit? Obviously, every time you get a Pivot Works item or bearing replacement, it comes with its own grease. I have a collection of these. I usually use Maxima waterproof grease. That's my grease of choice. So it comes with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 individual pieces. So you have 4 of these. They're black on both sides. 2 here and 2 here. You have 4 of these completely metal caps with a rubber seal on the inside. So there's 4 of those. And you have 2 of these. They have a rubber seal on both sides, but metal exposed in the middle. It also comes with 5 dowels. Here's the longer dowel, goes for obviously this section. Then you have 2 dowels that are the same size and diameter. These 2 are for this section here. And then these 2 are the same height, but they are different. One has a larger diameter and it's a little bit thicker wall. This one's a little bit smaller OD with a thinner wall. So the thicker one goes in the center here. The thinner one goes back here. How your linkage gets orientated inside the frame. Obviously you connect, I'll show you on this one. Obviously you got your linkage connects down at the frame. Then the shock and linkage go together in their pivot point right there and then up to the swing arm. So on the 250R linkage, you have grease fittings on these. So there's one here on this item, which when you're doing this, I shouldn't need to say this, but always make sure you clean out all this stuff. Throw some brake clean through there. Make sure all the grease passages are nice and clean. I usually use these brushes. They come in a kit, and I put them in my impact gun. I think I got that from Harbor Freight. Yeah, it's this kit here. Engine brush kit. Comes with several different types. Nylon, steel, brass. Use that all the time. Comes with a little extension. It also comes with a screwdriver handle if you want to use it like that. There's also grease fittings on the aluminum part of the linkage. This is aluminum. This is steel. So, you know, this is polished. This is coated in a cast iron coating. All right, what do we got next here? The part of the linkage, this one here. You'll notice this side is a circular shape, and this one back here kind of has like an oblong cam lobe style to it. The cam lobe section goes in the middle where the shock goes in between these two. You definitely want to don't get that wrong. Grease zerts or fittings, they point to the bottom like that. They do not point up. It'll change everything if you do that. Obviously recommend getting yourself new grease fittings. If not, just make sure your old ones are clean and they're working properly. All right, so overview. This one goes here. Two of these rubber ones go in the back here. These four encompass these dowels on this section of the linkage. The thicker wall goes in the oblong section with one of these on each side. It's the only two that are like this in the kit. And then the only thing that's left, process of elimination. This last dowel goes in the front with these other two fully looking rubber ones. So if it makes sense, the all black ones go where the linkage touched the frame and the swing arm, and the ones with metal go in the middle where it's just, you know, the shock and the linkage. All right, now for everybody who wants to see this in more detail, let's put this thing together. Let's start assembling this. We'll start where the linkage meets the frame. I'm going to start by putting some grease in there, getting it, you know, ready. You don't need to put a whole shitload because it has grease fittings on there, but I like to pre-grease stuff before I assemble anything. These long Q-tips, they're usually a lot longer than this. I break them down and kind of leave them in the grease bucket, but I get these at Harbor Freight as well. You can get a whole pack of like 1,000 of them for like $3. You really can't go wrong. I don't even think I went through the first pack I bought 2 years ago yet. All right. And we're going to put a little bit of grease in here. I'm also going to rub a little grease on the seals before I put them on. And like I said, make sure this is all nice and clean first. Don't just, you know, go all willy-nilly dirty style. We'll put a little grease on this recess section because this won't get rubbed off sliding it in there. It's going to push out whatever you put in there anyway because it's kind of a tight fit, but you know, we'll put what we can where we can. Same thing, make sure this is nice and clean. And we're going to go in from the side that I put the grease. We're going to spin it at the same time so it kind of, you know, disperses it a little bit. We'll get that in there. All right, so you can see it started pushing out all this excess grease here. So I'll just go ahead and use my finger here. Don't worry if you get a little extra on stuff, man. It's, you know, it's not going to hurt anything. So we'll take the rest of, we'll try to anyway. Take the rest of this and just put a little bit in there. All right, so these seals, you can see I already have them rubbed with grease. They go with the recess side goes in. Oh, starting to fall out there. Push that one in. And it's got a nice firm like engagement. You could feel it go in. So yes, this is definitely messy. Put the other one on. This is a simple procedure, guys. I'm just making this video. This isn't a video that's going to get 1 million views or anything, obviously. This is more like a search-based video, just in case one of you guys took your 250R linkage apart and you're looking at it like, where the hell do all these pieces go? All right, so that's ready to go. We're gonna set it in the orientation that it goes in the quad with the grease fitting facing down. All right, next part. We're gonna get to these right here. And being I'm not ready to install this in the quad yet, I will, at the end of this, I'll put zip ties through all these so they, you know, so they stay where they go. All right, let me go ahead and go with these. These have a hole in them. If you notice on the 250R, the bolt that goes through here has a grease fitting on it. It's like a, kind of like what they do now with pivot bolts, where they're greasable. Which, I mean, this quad doesn't need it. I went with the Delrin bushings on this one, so, you know, it doesn't really, you know, I grease it when I put it together, but it doesn't really require. And same thing, we're gonna rub some grease in here. Not a whole lot, like I said, because it's gonna push it out when you put the dowel in, but, you know, probably hear me say this about 5 more times in here on this video anyway. You can never use too much grease, man. The grease is your friend, guys. Do not, please do not put this stuff in there dry unless you just absolutely do not care about your bike and how it performs. That's entirely up to you. We got a little grease on the other one. This one goes in the same way as the other one, obviously. Slide this puppy on in there. Now, this part of the linkage gets these 4 that are the same. There's 4 of these. They're like a kind of like a pivot bolt cap on the end, like on a 400EX or multiple other machines that are the same style. There goes my phone when I'm busy, of course. Whoever that is, sorry, I'm not answering you right now. We'll go ahead and pre-lube these up. All right, so now that we got some grease on all 4 of these just do the same thing, man. Put them both on at the same time and just squeeze them together. And they have a nice positive engagement. You can feel it click on, usually. All right, I like to spin them a little bit too. Make sure that seal isn't rolled. And you're kind of negating the purpose of having seals on it. Same thing here. You guys can see how that's going on there a little better. Nice click, nice click. Spin it, make sure our lips ain't rolled or not rolled. All right, so there's the rear piece. Like I said, I'll put zip ties on this, although I will be installing this fairly soon. So, all right, let's get to getting this one prepped up now. Now for this one, more of the same. So in this kit, like I said earlier, it comes with these 2 that are not like the rest. So you have 4 that are the same, and then these other 4 are the same, these other all black ones. So same deal, making sure we're nice and clean in there. This also has a grease fitting, as well as the one that goes towards the, or bolts to the swing arm. And go ahead and, same thing like I said, we're going to say this about 10 times in this video. Make sure we got a little bit of grease in there. And I'd like to take my little mini grease gun and fit a, you guys ever put air in a basketball before? You know, that little needle that pokes into the basketball to pump it up? I want to fit that on my grease gun so I have like a little precision grease squirter, if you will. All right. So we already have grease on our seals. I went ahead and did that before. Just going to rub a little bit of grease on here, just a small film. Like I said, it's going to push it off anyway. So, all right, so the oblong one that goes between the other linkage and the shock gets the thicker walled, larger OD dowel. So this just goes in here like so. Same thing, spinning it while we push it in. All the excess grease, I'm just going to rub around. And we'll take our 2 seals that are not like the others, and they go in like this with the recess portion going towards the dowel. These fit in there very nicely. The other side now. Bang. There's that portion there. Give it a little spin. Make sure she's nice and seated in there. All right. Now, same thing for the other side, man. Just has different seals on it. So we got a little bit of grease on this. Gonna spin this while it goes in. Like to push it in from the side that I put the grease on. Like I said, it's gonna push out what it's not gonna use. So gonna rub our grease around a little bit. Same thing, recess portion goes in. And the other side. And that is a rebuilt Trx250r 1986 to 1989 rear shock linkage. So like I said, guys, real quick video. I'd consider this a beginner skill level thing to rebuild. So, you know, if you guys are riding around with beat bearings in your bike, man, swap the bearings. The bike's gonna feel so much better, man. I've had bikes before that come in here and, you know, they want work done to their engine, and I take the quad for a test ride, and it feels like you're riding a friggin' 79 Cadillac with blown bushings. It's just, you know, one, it's dangerous. Two, it's like really, it's just really handicapping the way you ride. So, you know, stuff like this, I think this linkage rebuild kit's like 60 bucks. As far as I know, Pivot Works is the only one that offers a rebuild for this. They were hard to come by. Now I think they're starting to make them again, so you can get them on eBay. I think it was like 60 bucks. Don't quote me on that. I also bought this like a year ago, so, you know, with Biden in office and everything, it's probably like $200 now, since none of us can live while he's in there. Go Trump. Anyway, so yeah, that's going to do it for this video, guys. Thanks for checking us out, and I'll see you in the garage next time. We're going to rebuild the OEM carrier for the axle on this bike. Yeah, you can buy a Chinese knockoff one for 50 bucks. And yes, the Pivot Works bearings cost about what you could buy a whole another carrier for, but a lot of you guys have asked me questions before, so I'm going to go ahead and disassemble that. I'm actually going to make that video right now. So you guys are going to get a bunch of little videos while I'm assembling this, just so I can get the videos out of the way. I try to cover certain procedures on bikes that are the same with a bunch of other bikes, other than this Linkage, obviously. It's pretty unique to the 250R, as far as I know. But I try to cover some of the smaller, you know, like how-tos and stuff like that for people that are just getting their first quad. I know a lot of you guys know what you're doing and you're watching. It's like, yeah, duh. But, you know, that's not what this was intended for. It was intended to help somebody, and if it helps one person, that's cool. So, anyway, I'll see you guys in the garage next time. This thing is really, really starting to come together. Yes, I'm filming, putting it together, not like a how-to, just like all these little individual videos would be like how-tos, but it'll just be an overview, just so you know, I'm not trying to do anything without you guys seeing what's going on. So this is what I got going on, while the 85 350X frame is out for powder coat. Same place that did this, Bonehead Performance Coatings in Pennsylvania. Shout out, you guys rock. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace! Smash that thumbs up. 10 seconds of the video left.